this is going to be a bit of a boat tour. So just going to go for a sail down the harbour, tell you a little bit about learning to sail the boat and my fit out. All the blocks hardware at Allen, all the ropes are from Marlow. In terms of rig, mast is a Cayley rig, the boom is from Art of Racing in New Zealand. My sails by HD Sails, proudly from the Midlands. And then the hull is Synergy's marine boat from Suffolk. So one of the things that really appealed to me about getting involved with the Europe was just being able to have a play around with development a little bit. And the hulls are relatively tightly constrained, but it's actually a Dave Holland take on the one design rules for the Europe. I think he's pushed a little bit more kind of depth into the V in the middle, and then pushed volume as well forward and backwards in the boat, so it should create kind of a longer waterline length. Now honestly, I've not sailed many Europe, so I can't tell you whether this is loads faster. What I can tell you is it feels super stiff through the side tanks and toe straps when you're hiking it, and obviously went pretty quick at the Nationals as well, so I'm pretty happy with it. Nice bit of breeze there, just popping up on the plane. So one of the things you learn about the Europe pretty quick is you can't really use the kicker upwind, which is a little bit of a problem for me. I've always sailed boats which have been pretty heavy on the kicker, and as you know, sailing's a matter of balancing forces. So upwind, you want to maximise your righting moment, so how much you can hike out, and you want to maximise the power generation in the sail, forward propulsion you're getting from it, and you want to keep the boat flat, which keeps the forces nicely aligned. So just going through a light spot there, dropping off a little bit of outhaul. In-haul's maybe a little fraction tight as well. Just tightening up the toe straps. But I've got a gust coming up, and I guess the question is, what do you do to keep these forces balanced when you hit a gust? Heating up there, can hike a little bit, can stuff the boat into the wind, but if I ease the main, it does flatten the boat back off by opening up the leach, spilling wind from the top of the sail. But you also lose leach tension, you lose mast bend, which adds depth into the sail and makes it quite draggy. So it's also very hard to pull the main on and off. I'm just on a 3-to-1, so it takes a lot of energy to ease that. Of course, the control I'd like to use is the Cunningham, and really pull that on in the gust. But the Cunningham also is changing the shape of the sail. It's flattening it, but it is twisting it as well, so that's why it's a good control to pull on. But it takes quite a lot of tension to do that, and it takes time. It's not a very quick initial reaction to the gust, and equally to the lulls. So what I found was my best option for reacting to the initial gust, apart from throwing my shoulders out for a little bit more leverage, is play the traveller. So generally speaking, you've got an ideal position for your traveller, which is out on the quarter deck. But as the gust hits, just that initial balance, just to keep the boat from heating up. I found playing the traveller is the control to go to. And then once you're into the gust, then just kind of tweaking the other controls. And the traveller is really light. I mean, you're just moving the boom in and out, rotating the rig, but you're not actually changing any sail shape. You're just changing the angle of attack for the whole sail. So it's just gone a bit lighter there. I'm going to just drop the in-haul back to base position, and then really when it goes super light, just dropping a bit of depth back in, just get a bit of power. Now you're back into trimming for leach tension, so set the traveller mid-tank, and I'm just looking at kind of getting that top telltale just to die. and it's really your leech control in the light, which is your power. So you're looking to create as much power as possible without stalling the sail. One thing I was surprised I played quite a lot with was the tow straps. I thought having a tow strap on the control lines here, I'd never touch it, but actually, you know, in the light it was quite nice just to have your toes really tucked down in the boat. And as it got breezy and you really wanted to hang out, then I was a bit off. Equally on the reaches or downwind, you could cinch those tow straps up. So yeah, coming into a bit more breeze now, and it's just in these onset of gusts, just the traveller I'm initially playing just to keep the boat flat. That body weight, and a little bit of steering as well. Steering does the same as the traveller really, it's just changing the angle of attack on the sail, but obviously if you steer aggressively you get the drag from the rudder as well. So and the traveller is just so light on it, it's just dead easy to do. I'm just on this is Marlow R8 in 5mm, but absolutely fine. I mean, I've got gloves today, but I don't even really need gloves in Europe, so all the loads are pretty light. It's actually interesting, you know, I do a lot of commentary on the America's Cup, and the conundrum about what control you do to maintain the balance on the boat is actually very similar to America's Cup, in that, yeah, ideally you'd want to play a lot with Cunningham, but it takes a lot of power to do the Cunningham. They're restricted with their side claws, how much power they can use. Main sheet, again, not a great option because it's adding depth into the sail, because you're bending that rig, or losing the bend in the rig, straightening the mast when you use the main sheet tension. So that really does leave you with traveller as the optimum control for just those initial balance control, and it's traveller is relatively lightly loaded compared to everything else. Got a big bit of gust coming in here, and again just gonna cinch up to the main sheet tension. Gust coming in. There we go. It's got these yachts going past. Real big gust there, right at the end of my traveller movement. And once I get to the edge of the traveller and I'm into the gust, I can pull it back in, but if I find like I'm really stuck out there with the traveller, that's when I'll go into the downhaul and flatten off with the outhaul as well. Downwind, definitely a trade-off between kicker off and twisties, nice and stable. Boom in a little bit, works quite well. But downwind was not my forte. Lots to learn for me in this boat. Say as the pressure comes in. There we go. Big gust in. It gets actually quite hard on the one-to-one, the main sheet. Just gonna take a wrap on my hand. But yeah, a bit of kicker off. Boom in's nice and stable. Probably a bit high up on the board there, but yeah, it's fairly up and down day. I think I'll be fine. So in terms of ropes on the control lines, it's a bit of a mix, kind of Marlow kite line effectively on some of it. The loads aren't high in this boat, or up to Marlow's 2.5mm SK 78. Got the Marlow R8 4mm on the kicker in purple, 5mm on the traveller, tapered down to its orange inner core on the traveller. And then the other control lines, getting caught off balance there. Need to remember to look behind a bit more in the Europe, because I frequently don't do that, and I could put one foot just behind the main sheet just to pitch against, and fairly decent amount of pressure at the moment. But yeah, one-to-one, you can really, when the A flag's up and you're free pumping, you can really give it a bit of ooch down these waves, which is quite nice. Watch out. one of the main reasons I went continuous to the control lines isn't for the line management per se, but more just so I can cleat with the leeward side without having to move down to leeward, which is very nice. Just coming into a bit of a gust here. I got this weird cross swell. There we go. On the plane on that way. That's nice there. This is a bit of a new test on the old audio side with a separate audio device recording. Hopefully you can pick up my voice okay and it all sounds good. Interestingly, the little sticker says I can have 2 people on this boat and luggage, 140 kilos. So that's quite generous. I mean, 140 kilos including luggage. That's 2 relatively small people, but yeah, just coming into that breeze here, getting the shoulders out. Yeah, that one, perfect. Run, thank you very much. Yeah, perfect, thank you. So, there we are. Hope you enjoyed sailing me for the day.